That freshness you feel in the air, that's hockey season starting up again. It's about time. The only sport really worth watching. And we are back once again for another exciting hockey season. A whole lot of new things going on, not only in the league, but even with our home team of the Penguins. A lot of shakeups going on there. Great things to tell you about. And of course, let's not forget about this whole thing going on with the anthems. I'll just say this at the beginning of the show that, for years, no, for decades now, the National Hockey League players have been standing for not just one, but oftentimes two. And now that we're traveling to England and traveling to China, sometimes three different anthems, and there's never been an issue. And here's to knocking on wood and hoping that doesn't become a political hockey puck, if you will, during this coming season. We got a lot to talk about. It's hockey time. Can you feel it? I can. This is In the Crease. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It is absolutely great to be here with you again. We kick off another exciting episode of In the Crease. Looking for I hope we can get 10, 12 shows this season. Last season, we had some difficulty. I had some medical problems. We had to cut the show short. And hopefully that won't happen this time. Now you're saying, Fior, what happened to your normal hockey jersey? Oh, this is a hockey jersey, all right. I want to thank my fine friends in Arizona. Instead of sending me a Coyotes jersey, they sent me a jersey for Arizona State University. This is the Sun Devils, and I got to keep it, provided I wore it on the show. So I said, well, I'll wear it on the very first show because the NHL is officially still in preseason, but college hockey has started up in true form. So this is it. This is the Arizona Sun Devils. And I get to keep the shirt now. I'll tell you an interesting story. The very first day I got this from my friends in Arizona, I opened up. I said, I'm going to wear this. I went down to the local Eaton Park, right down here on Library Road. And the waitress, the hostess, sits us at a table, and the people sitting right next to us, happened to be from Arizona. In fact, two of the boys that were sitting with the family go to Arizona State, and one was a hockey player. So naturally, I abandoned my family there, my wife, and we were sitting there talking hockey the whole time, and it was just a good time. So good vibes coming from this jersey, and we'll kick off this season with it. Okay, it is a tradition, either on the social networks or sometimes here on the show, that we start off the program with what I consider some of the best hockey videos in the world today. This is the runner-up. This is number 2, and we're going to start off with this right now. It stars Chris Chelios and Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Hockey, where Samuel L. Jackson plays the infamous coach Julian Winfield. Check this out.
Scotty Bowman, one of the greatest coaches in sports history. What can you say about him that hasn't already been said? 9 Stanley Cups. Was he my favorite coach? I don't think so. I had this guy in youth hockey. Boy, he was really something.
Do I look like a Do I look like a
Nah.
Well, why are you skating for me like huh?
Well, he was more than just a coach. He was really a teacher.
Work that puck. That's the way I like it. What the hell? You gonna let him stand in here like a... Hold it. Just because you look like the gimp don't mean you play like the gimp. Don't let him stand in here and punk you like you patting him on the legs. Give him the gourmet shot. Be a bad motherfucker. Here you go. Let's go.
There wasn't really a practice that went by that I didn't learn something new and useful.
1, drop your glove. 2, catch the jersey. 3, over the head. And where I'm from, we call this the Inglewood Jack. What I say? Inglewood Jack. That's the way. Inglewood Jack. Yeah. Inglewood Jack.
The guy was all about growth, mental, physical, I mean, even spiritual.
And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee. There's some coaches out there who are, you know, the tyranny of evil men. I tried myself to just be a shepherd. Inglewood Jack! Inglewood Jack! At most, you know, maintain an air of cool. Get it. Up! Get up! Get up, God! Let's go!
You know, clearly I took some inspiration from Coach Scholes, but that was a long time ago. I guess you could say I just outgrew him.
Outgrew me? That ungrateful son of a bitch couldn't even spell hockey before he met me.
Jules Winfield. Man, it'd be kind of cool to see him again.
The next time I see him, I'm gonna take Lord Stanley's cup and shove it right up his candy ass.
I should call him.
Anytime, any place. Bring it on, mother. Just bring it on.
Okay, a couple of things to get onto here. First off, we want to wish best wishes to Eddie Olczyk. You know, I've been very critical of him on this show, and especially the way he performs color announcing. But he has managed to land with Doc Emmerich. I don't think you're going to see him on the air. He has some serious health problems, and even though we're spend a lot of time blasting him for some of the silly things he says, you never want to see anybody go down like that. So we certainly wish well to Eddie Olczyk and his whole family, and wish him a speedy recovery. And, if everything is good, maybe he'll be back in the booth with Doc again before the end of the season. A couple of other things happening in the booth today. Mike Lange is scaling back. He's not going to do all of the Penguin radio broadcasts. He's getting up there a little bit in age, and he's going to do the home games and maybe a couple of the close away games, but they're going to get him, ease him up a little bit, which is probably a good thing. Back in the early 90s, when the Pens were winning their first Stanley Cups, we were fortunate enough to have Mike Lange on the show. We did a nice hour-long interview with him. I am going to give that show to David. We're going to run that back up on the internet site and let you guys see that interview, because frankly it was damn good. So keep an eyeball open for that, my exclusive interview with Mike Lange, and that'll be coming up in a short spate of time. Steve Mears is now the play-by-play announcer for the Penguins. I got to tell you, I have never been happier. For the last, I don't know, maybe 30 years or so, I have watched Penguin games with the sound turned down. I never appreciated anything that Paul Steigerwald did. I thought he was absolutely horrible. Worst hockey announcer I've ever heard. Steve Mears has only done a couple of preseason games already, but I got to tell you, he's great. He's already telling better stories than I ever heard from Staggy in 30 years. So I'm very, very happy. I think all of you will be too. Steve Mears, I used to watch him a lot on the NHL Network, and I think he's going to bring an awful lot to the Pens. That kind of gets everybody up there. And while we're throwing out all these kudos and things, I'm not a big fan of these things. I think these things are kind of corny. But, okay, this one made me laugh. Every hockey season starts with, they find some kind of a video of kids in hockey gear dancing. And they, boy, it's so trite, and it's But I got to admit, this one was funny. They caught a goalie, a little squirt guy goalie, dancing and having it. Check this out. I don't know what it is, but that little kid had me laughing. Okay, so I thought I'd share that with you now. That's kind of the way I looked when I would get a victory. It was just kind of dancing around everything. Ah, boy. Hey, yeah, a little public service announcement for you here. I am going to try once again to have an internship associated with In the Crease. There are some rules, some stipulations. I want you, A, to be a big hockey fan. That's one. And two, I want you to be able to get credit for it at your school. So whether it's the local high schools or whether it's one of the local colleges, I'll be glad to offer you an internship. You can reach Dave here at the studio and let him know. He's going to punch up the number he wants you to call, and I'll get back in touch with you and let you know what's going on. I'll not only show you how to do show prep, how to prepare you for the show, and have you sit with me here on the set, but I'll also give you some tips as to how to do play-by-play and voiceover announcing and things of that nature. So it'll be a complete internship. If your professors or teachers want to see a syllabus, that's fine. Not a problem at all. Believe me when I tell you, you're going to learn a lot, probably more than you will in the classroom from somebody who's, never really done this out in the real world before. So if you are interested, please call Dave Cable, the BPTV director, at this number right here. And we'll start the screening and hopefully have you on by the second or third episode of the season. And that does that. We need to get back to the videos. Folks, for years, this has been the top-rated hockey video, and nobody has knocked it out yet. If you're a hockey fan, you've seen this. If you've seen it, you don't mind sitting through it again. It is that good. The number one hockey video on the web today, Clark, the Canadian goaltender.
My name's Clark, and I've been a hockey goalie ever since I can remember, growing up in my hometown of Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. The only thing I don't like about hockey, though, is the fact that there's an off-season, which is why I came down here. After last season ended, and we lost in the championship game on a garbage goal by a guy who was clearly in the crease, I decided to try something new. I thought I'd give baseball a shout. Go Bears. At first, people expected me to play catcher, because I like the chest protector and all, but I was like, no freaking way. I got way too much range for that. So shortstop it is.
When I first saw Clark, I thought there's no way in the world a guy like this could play ball at this level. How about send him off packing without even giving him a look? Ready, Clark?
Oh yeah, coach, fire away.
Clark's presence has renewed the team's sense of purpose, not only on winning, but also on stretching. Mike Groin has never felt better.
Sure, there was a period of adjustment. Once the guys started accepting Clark as a person and a ball player, and not just a Canadian, things really started to click.
All right, Clark, turn two.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
No, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I know. The knock against me is that I'm a one-way player. I mean, no stick, no speed. But who are they kidding? No stick? What is that?
Come on, Clark, you sin.
Oh yeah, coach. Show me what you got.
Oh, Lordy. I think I'm gonna boot.
And I'll tell you another thing about me running the bases. No one's ever turned double play on me. Snack on that for lunch.
Bo Dion Clark. He really could be one of the great two-sport athletes of his generation.
Yeah, it does get a little hot out there. I think I'll enjoy playing in the domes.
Screen! Screen! Screen!
What was that?
What are you doing?
I'm protecting my crease. You're in it.
This isn't hockey.
Oh, you want hockey? I'll show you hockey, you hoser.
What did you just call me?
Hoser.
What the hell does that mean, you stupid Canuck?
Oh, so you're gonna insult me and my homeland all in one nugget, eh? Sweater over the head. The classic hockey fight maneuver. Now, the term hoser comes from the pre-Zamboni days, when the losing team had to hose down the ice at the end of the night. Losing team. So, yes, there is a derogatory connotation to the term. You friggin' hoser. You friggin' hoser.
When Clark first showed up, we were all a little, what is that? Tell you the truth, I still have no idea.
They say Cal Ripken revolutionized the position of shortstop. Where'd they get a load of Clark? The Canadian hockey goalie.
He's Clark, the Canadian hockey goalie. He's Clark, the Canadian hockey goalie. From north of the border, not quite made to order, he's Clark. Decided one day to give baseball a shout. He had no doubt, you're safe, never out with Clark, the Canadian hockey goalie.
You know, people, they ask me, they say, hey, Clarky, how do you keep it all in perspective? And I tell them it's like my mom used to say.
You know, as we get ready to go into the season, naturally, I want to give you some of my predictions. But before I do that, I got to tell you, I'm looking over some of these rosters. And, you know, the netminders are not sticking out like they used to. I mean, I hate to say, oh, back in the glory days, but good Lord, you could read down a list of netminders that were just absolutely mind-numbing, and they were spread throughout the league. A lot of these guys, they're good. They're playing in the National Hockey League, so they have to be. But a lot of them are just big guys who cover a lot of net and have reflexes. I mean, the ability to be a true netminder sometimes is not there. It's just hopefully I'm in the right position and I stop the puck. And and anytime you talk about goaltenders, the question comes up, oh, who is the greatest goaltender? And I'm sure if I had my buddy George Wagner sitting next to me, he'd say Jacques Plante because that's his main man. But it's not. And for all of you who think it's Patrick Waugh, it's not. Look, the best guy to ever put on, and there have been some good ones too. I mean, the best guy to ever put on the pads, without question, is Marty Brodeur. That's it. End of discussion. Why? Because I said so. And the folks from Hockey Central, great goalies, put together this nice little video, which I think will kind of solidify everything that Marty has done. Scope this out.
He just stole one.
For the rare breed who dares stand between the pipes, alone and vulnerable, the job description is simple. No matter how, no matter what, just stop the puck. And then in 1992, into the Garden State, skated a man named Marty.
Brodeur, first game, gets the win, Devils 4.
Who took this simple task and reimagined how it could be done, redefined what the goalie position could be, and over 20 magical seasons, rewrote hockey history. Martin Brodeur was better. Better than everyone else. By doing it differently than everyone else.
Save of the game by Brodeur!
By playing the game Marty's way.
I was told when I was younger by one of my goalie coaches is that one of the biggest assets that you have is like nobody knows what you're going to do. I really try to take that to the next level and be my own person and not worry about what people think about me, about the way I play the game. At the end of the day, it was all about winning.
I think all the greats, any Hall of Famer or any athlete that's best in class, finds a way to have their own style and finds a way to stop the opponent. That was Marty.
He probably read and tracked the puck and saw the game before it happened better than I think any goalie. I think he knew where the puck was going to be before even some of the shooters did.
And Marty with another answer there.
I could come down the right side 3 different times and shoot the same shot and he would make 3 different saves.
The numbers don't lie. You know, his name is just all over the record book. Wherever you look, it's amazing, and there's no question that he's the best goalie to ever play the game.
Goaltending, Marty Brodeur once wrote, is creativity, an expression of imagination and innovation. Artistry, with pads, glove, and a mask, serving as the paint and paintbrush. He approached the game passionately, uniquely unafraid to challenge many of its core conventions.
Goal number 30, Martin Brodeur!
Why not play 75 games in a season when other goalies rarely started more than 60? Handle the puck more, turning a netminder into a third defenseman. Why not become such an offensive threat the NHL changed its rules, creating a trapezoid to try and stop you? Why not make the first move, forcing the shooter to react to the goalie rather than the other way around?
The net is empty, he throws it down!
And instead of just preventing goals,
He scored a goal!
why not score 3 of your own?
Martin Brodeur!
And why just win 1 Stanley Cup when you can win 3?
It seems to be a tradition with shows that start off the hockey season that people will make predictions. They're predicting who the MVP is going to be, who the Vezina Trophy winner is going to be, who's going to take the cup. You know, all that stuff is ludicrous. It really is. I mean, you might be the type of guy that sits down with all kinds of algorithms and, you know, logistical things like Stan Savran does. And, well, according to my statistic, yada, yada, yada. Or you might be a putz like Mark Madden who sits and plays, you know, the NHL 17 and whoever wins on his game is who's going to win the puck. I'm going to give you some predictions that you probably hang your hat on because I think they're going to be worthwhile, and they're coming from a guy that not only played the game but, you know, has been around the game all his life. And let me say this right from the get-go. Last season, I truly did not think that the Penguins were in a good position to repeat as Stanley Cup champs. Surprised me, and I was happily surprised. This year, I can say that I think they are in an excellent position to three-peat. I really do. I mean, I'm looking up and down the Eastern Conference. The Pens look good. I think they look really, really good. In fact, let me show you a couple of things that I think I got going on here. And I apologize right on air to Dave Cable. I usually get these graphics to him ahead of time, and I didn't. So this show's going to be a while in post-production, I'm sure, unless he saved all the graphics from last year and just switches the teams. But over in the Eastern Conference, in the Metropolitan Division, the Pens just look strong. They look stronger than anybody else in that division. I do believe the teams that will give them some trouble are the Capitals. The Flyers, yes, I do believe the Flyers made some key changes. The Islanders, the Blue Jackets, most of the Blue Jackets comes because of the guy behind the bench down there. The Rangers will still be in contention. I can tell you right now that this year you can knock out the Devils and the Hurricanes. I don't think they're going anywhere. I don't like the changes they made in the offseason, and I'm scratching them off right from the get-go at the beginning of the season. Check with me around the holidays, and we'll see if I have egg on my face. But there's none of those teams that can touch the Pittsburgh Penguins. On paper, they just look too strong. If we switch and go over to the Atlantic Division, and, this is really painful for me to say, but I don't see anybody beating the Habs. I really don't. Montreal just looks absolutely phenomenal, and I liked some of the changes that they made, and I just think they're going to take that division. Some teams that we can eliminate right off the bat, forget about Detroit. I don't think they're going anywhere. And you can forget about the Sabres. I don't think they're going to have it this year either. Teams that will be in contention, Boston, but just barely. The Panthers, but again, just barely. And the Senators and the Leafs will be in contention there. Probably some of the biggest competition for the Atlantic Division will come from the Leafs. But right now, if we were to add things up and I was a betting man, I'm looking at the Pens and the Canadiens to be the top two strong teams coming out of the Eastern Conference. Now, it seems like I've been saying this, at least for a decade. But I got to tell you that the Western Conference, again, has a lot stronger teams. And I think all in all, they're a lot stronger division. I think a lot of times the reason they peter out in the playoffs is because by the time they get to the Cup, they've beaten the hell out of each other to get there. Let's take a look at the Central Division first. I'll tell you, I like the Stars in here. I really do. I like the Dallas Stars and what they've done. I think you might have some close competition with the Jets and the Avs. I think they've made some nice additions as well. The Preds, Chicago, the Wild, and the Blues will all contend. In fact, there is not a team right now in the Central Division that I can say forget about it, they're out of it. There isn't. They're all there. But I'm putting my money on the Dallas Stars. I think those are going to be the guys to get in there. If we go over to the Pacific Division, there's some teams we can eliminate right off the bat. The Vancouver Canucks, you can chalk them up in the Phoenix, or I guess now Arizona Coyotes. You can scratch those off. I don't think those teams are going anywhere as well. In contention will be the Oilers, the Sharks, and yes, even the Vegas Knights. They look like they could be at least a 500 team. Look a little bit respectable. And with Marc-Andre in the nets, who knows what can happen. The two teams I see as the strongest coming out of the Pacific Division are the Ducks and the Flames. Yeah, those two. I think they shape up really good, and they look really, really strong. So if we were going to look for teams that will make it coming out of the Western Conference, I can't narrow this down to two. I wish I could. Over in the East was Pittsburgh and Montreal, but in the West, you have Dallas, Calgary, and Anaheim. Sorry, kids, I can't get it down any more than three. I think those are your strongest contenders there. Now, there's a lot to happen. The injury factor is not put in here at all, and also not in here, the trade deadlines and all that, because that's going to shift things. I will have more specific predictions for you after, as always, after the trade deadline is passed and the teams have reshuffled. But right now, that's how we think it looks here on In the Crease. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this inaugural edition of the 2017-2018 season of In the Crease. We will keep you abreast of all the news that none of the other guys will, because, well, we're not going through Tom McMillan's spin, and we sure as hell aren't going through Gary Bettman's spin. So what you get is pure, off-the-cuff hockey right here on In the Crease. And remember, when it comes to hockey, if you're in the game, you're in the crease.